We are back again. Back in time, bitch ass. Fuck.
What time is it?
Fucking shit. It's 3:30.
Oh my god, dude, we're late. Oh, fuck, we're late. Oh my god, this isn't good. Do you know how long it's been since our last episode?
Oh, we're starting already. Okay. I wasn't aware of the...
I just woke up.
I wasn't aware.
And you failed to wake me. I asked
Wake
you
Nick
specifically
up. Wake him up inside.
to wake me up when it was time
the shitty song.
to do our next episode. How long has it been? A whole year?
I think it's been like a whole century.
Did you like that? Did you like that since the last episode we put out was in 2023 and now it's 2024? So that's a whole nother year. All right. Well, hey, hi everybody.
Forget Christmas. It's Valentine's month, everyone.
We skipped January altogether. You know why? Because it's the shittiest
because nobody
month
cares about January
of the year. Everyone say it with me. January sucks. January sucks. January sucks. So we skipped it, and we're here in February of 2024 to talk about more of our favorite albums, movies, and games. My name is Nick Scarpin Auto.
I'm David Kabushkars, and today joining us we have our Kargi.
It's been so long since our last episode, we forgot how to do it. We forgot how to do the episode. We forgot how to do the podcast, so we don't have a car with us. Luckily, our trusty dog sidekick, Ein, from beloved 90s anime Cowboy Bebop, is here to join us. Ein, what do you have to say about being a guest on the podcast today?
You're welcome.
Oh, I thought he was going to say...
Do you remember that episode? When
where
they're
he
tripping balls?
Where he talked?
Yeah. It was pretty good.
I do remember that. He's the best character from the show. I know we talked... Did we talk about Cowboy Bebop on the... We had to have.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. It was just a very early episode because I remember cutting out the Spike Spiegel PNG file for the thumbnail. And I forget who else was in that episode. But Spike is a very tall, lanky dude, so it was hard to get him in frame. Probably like, taking photos with you, It's hard to get you in frame sometimes.
Yeah.
You're very tall.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a giant.
Yeah, we forgot Vanessa too. So when she finds out about this, her replacement, she's going to be pissed. I don't know if she's ever going to want to come back. Please come back, Vanessa. I love you, and I wish you wouldn't have run away with that boy. But, hey, I was a teenager once too. So I get it.
Long time ago.
Yeah, it has
old.
been 10 years. Happy 10-year anniversary to us being teenagers. All right, I guess that'll be next year.
Adults.
That'll be next year. Yeah, because we're both 28 years old. I know we already talked about this, but now that it's 2024 and we're actually the age that we're supposed to be, it's weird. Or not the age that we're supposed to be. What am I saying? I don't know, man. We haven't done this in a while. But it is good to be here. It's good to be back. We are continuing to trudge along through our journey.
What have you been up to this year so far?
Oh, my God.
Since we last saw you.
Well, I moved back in with my parents for our last episode. And so now, or 2 episodes before this, I've been living with my folks for about 2 months now. We did Christmas together. We did New Year's together. And now we are, they're all sick. They're all sick except for me. I am the only one who's healthy and sane. And yeah, knock on... Did you just knock on my guitar?
No. No is the wall.
Okay. You could knock on him though. Yeah, he's kind of a dummy. That's Dinky over there.
Knock on the Dinkster.
It's my very first guitar ever. And I kept bumping him into walls. So a friend of mine was like, name him Dinky. And I said, okay.
Which I kind of stole.
Yeah. Well, he's in good hands. He's in good hands.
What's the indefinitely borrowed?
Indefinitely borrowed, yes. Something like that. So it's been a lot of holidays. It's been a lot of taking break from... It's an extended winter break, if you will. I've seen a lot of movies, watching a lot of the Best Picture nominees for this year's Oscars. So far, I've seen 4 movies, I think. You've seen 5?
5 of them.
So
yes.
together, we're almost done, if you think about it that way. Been playing a lot of video games, mostly mobile games. I'm excited to play Persona 3. That's a new thing that came out recently. I got the PS5 edition, despite not having a PS5, so we'll see how that turns out, what becomes of that. And I'm accepting that I think I love February. I do. I think I do. There's just something about the snow melting away, spring being right around the corner. The love is in the air. It smells nice and rosy. And chocolates are half off the day after. And it's award season, so it gives me excuses to listen to a Boy Genius, who I've never... I didn't listen to their full album, but something tells me they won a lot of awards last night.
It's also the anniversary of our channels. Although,
is that right?
Well, I mean, mine at least, but we started like making videos at the same time.
Yeah.
But
we did, didn't we?
You just don't do that anymore.
No, I don't.
You lazy bitch.
Hey, I haven't taken a break. But also, I have learned about myself that I can't make promises about releasing stuff until the things are done, man. I can't do that anymore. That's one. Have you heard of ins and outs lists for New Year's? Instead of having resolutions, people are doing ins and outs, you know? So it's like, here's what's in this year, right? Not. That'd be the out. Ins would be, drink more water. That's in this year. Being racist. That's out this year. So can't do that anymore. We can't be racist anymore.
I'm not ready yet.
Jesus. So in this year is what's in this year? In this year is actually making videos, but out is promising people that I'm going to make them before they're done. So it's kind of a paradoxical thing. I don't know how I'm going to get things done this year. But it's still the beginning of the year, so I got plenty of time.
Yeah.
What about you, David? What have you been up to this lovely 2024?
Nothing but working and practicing the shit out of our next EP. And rewriting it, because I had to overhaul some of my parts. Because I wrote it like a dickhead and didn't even consider the thought. Because when I wrote it, I didn't think we were going to actually play it in the band. So I was just I didn't care.
In the band Calloused Wing.
Yeah, but now that we're actually going to record in a couple months, I got to kick in the high gear and get the shit down. Because, bro.
That's a kick in the high gear.
The next EP, it's got 2 songs written by me.
Woo!
The first 2 songs, actually.
Wow.
So that's exciting.
So you're going to break down some doors and...
Damn straight.
And announce, hey, this is our band.
I'm a songwriter now.
Hell yeah. You got to credit yourself. You guys, I don't know if you've done it already, but you got to register your songs.
I don't know what that is.
So essentially, when you register a song and you list yourself as a songwriter, that ensures that song is legally yours. Otherwise, if someone were to hear a Calloused Wing song and then learn that you aren't registered, which by the time this video comes out, they're totally going to be registered. So don't think about doing this, everybody. But if you were to play and, if someone were to be like, yeah, this is our song, and then you hear it and you're like, yeah, it's our song, but you didn't register and they did, then legally, and of course you can sue and you can show them songwriting notes from whatever, but
yeah, I can show the years and years of footage and audio files of us making the songs.
So I guess it's not that big of a deal.
You fucking pussy trying to steal my shit.
Pussy. But it's just a thing that I try to remind myself a lot, and a lot of my songwriter friends, is just to register your songs, get them registered, make yourself official, and be good to yourself. That's in this year, is to be good to yourself and register your songs, Nick.
I'm also at 920 Korok seeds for Tears of the Kingdom.
So you're almost done.
I got 80 left, dude.
So everyone cheer them on in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube, if you're on Spotify or Google Play or Apple Music or Google Podcasts. Sorry.
And since May, dude, I've been playing this game, and I got like 2 weeks left.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life.
Wait for Breath of the Wild 3.
No, that's not happening.
So yeah, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and then shit's out the ass. Sorry, they're not gonna.
No, there's not gonna be any more.
No, probably not. The next Zelda thing they're gonna do, they're probably gonna do a Super Mario thing where they did Galaxy, and it was really good. So they made a Galaxy 2, and then they went to a 2D Mario. So we're probably gonna get a top-down Zelda next, another one. That'd be kind of cool.
I would like that.
Or some other Zelda-related thing. I'm sure whatever it is, it's going to be great. Might be on the new Switch 2, which hasn't officially been announced, but come on, guys. It's 2024.
The swap. They're going to call it the Nintendo Swap.
Ew. Why does that sound it sounds so icky.
Nintendo Swap.
Yo, you want to play Swap later? That's just not. It doesn't have the same ring to it. So we're hoping for good things in 2024, but here on the podcast about how neither of us ever got into cars, we're going to look to the past for some of our favorite things ever, including albums, movies, and games. If you're unfamiliar and you're just starting to listen to podcasts in this new year, if that is in for you in 2024, hopefully you enjoy our podcast so far. And we've been doing this thing for the past, I don't know, like 20 episodes at this point, if we're both on our top whatever.
Yeah.
Where we count down our top 10 favorite albums, top 15 favorite games, and then month to month we switch up the genre of movie that we pick our favorites from. And as far as games go, we're in our top 10. And as far as albums go, we're in our top 5. And as far as movies go, we're in our romantic comedies.
Rom-com, because it's February.
It's February. It's the love month, baby. So we gotta talk about love, but not just romantic, the Notebook drama love. Love me some Notebook, but I also like to giggle a lot. And someone who makes me giggle a ton is Mr. Jason Segel, man or Muppet himself, in specifically the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which we literally just watched.
We did.
Because also in this year, I want to watch more of my best friend's favorite movies. And out this year is him not watching my favorite movies. So
that's right.
We're gonna try to be more conscious about that. So for me, I love me some love, but I also love some relatability. And Forgetting Sarah Marshall is all about. It's a movie about a breakup and how to recover from a breakup. And it shows all sides of it. And honestly, did you just fart? No, it was a yawn.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to hear that anyway. So, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, it's a funny movie. It's a romantic movie. It's got the rom, it's got the com. It's got a shit ton of actors that we know. It's pretty stacked as far as like comedians go. You got Jason Segel, you got Mila Kunis. Oh my God, what's her name? Dax Shepard, and Kristen Bell plays Sarah Marshall. You got the guy Russell Brand. I almost called him Russell Peters. And then you have cameos from people like Jack Breyer, who played fucking Fix-It Felix in Wreck-It Ralph. Mm. You got Jonah Hill, fresh off the success of Superbad. You got Bill Hader, Paul Rudd. It's just a shit ton of people that we know. Yeah, it's a movie that I hold very near and dear to my heart. The first time I saw it, I was really going through an emotional experience about a girl. And this movie...
Take advantage while you hang me out to dry. But I can't... Sorry, you said about a girl, so...
I really did.
I had to bust out the song.
I did say that. Also, the fact that Peter, played by Jason Segel in this movie, is a musician. When I first saw this movie, I was like, was there a documentary crew following me around and making a movie? And my life is nothing like this movie, but I made up a bunch of connections in my head. So anyway, I've held this movie in high regard in my brain for a very long time, and this is the first time that I've seen it in a while, and I'm thinking about it super critically. But yeah, before I dive into that, David, I want to know what you thought seeing it for the first time. What did you think?
I don't think I've seen Jason Segel in another movie besides I Love You Man, which, have you seen that?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, where him and Paul Rudd are
That's also pretty. It's also a pretty good rom-com.
That's a bro rom-com.
Yeah,
right
it really is.
But yeah, he's really good. I thought there's definitely some funny parts. You know, the pediatric fire truck sticks out.
Yeah, that's a good part.
Yeah, just a bunch of good lines because it's like the one team making all these movies like this, Superbad, Knocked Up, goddamn
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, just like
the Judd Apatow crew.
Yeah, these guys are just like firing on all cylinders, and I don't know what they've done recently.
Not a whole. I feel like all of the actors that were in those. Well, first of all, it started way back when there was a show called Freaks and Geeks where Judd Apatow cast a bunch of these actors, and then they sort of had a not a round table. What am I thinking of? Like a brain trust of actors and writers, and Judd Apatow was kind of at the center of it. So they just started making a shit ton of movies after Freaks and Geeks got canceled, and it's popularized. They call it stoner comedy of the mid to late 2000s. There's a lot of mentions of, even in this movie, Paul Rudd's character mentions weed a couple of times, and it's like very apparent that in the mid 2000s it was still not even a taboo thing to talk about, but it was like edgy, you know? It was like, yeah, we're going to have our people in this movie talk about weed because it's funny, you know? Now it's like you mentioned weed and it doesn't have nearly as much impact as it did when we were in middle school.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a few lines, though. It's not like
it's not
Pineapple Express.
Yeah,
Polar Express. Yeah.
That would have been a very different movie if CGI Tom Hanks. It's just, instead of a train, it was like a dispensary, you know? And they weren't going to the North Pole. They were just going to somewhere in LA. Yeah, no, it's very, I forget how heavy it is on the rom part of the rom-com in the second half. The first half of the movie is a lot, I feel like, lighter and funnier than the second half. But I do really like this idea that, you know, you go into the rom-com being kind of on Peter's side, the main character, because he's the one that gets broken up with, and then you find out that he was cheated on by Sarah Marshall, who's this big TV star, and he does the music for her show. And over the course of the movie, the perspective almost flips a little bit, where instead of him having flashbacks and thinking about her and trying to forget her and going to Hawaii, they end up meeting in Hawaii, and then she is sleeping with a different guy, and then he meets Mila Kunis, who's the receptionist at the hotel where he's staying, and they hit it off. And as their relationship starts to get stronger, bless you, Sarah and her, you know, fuck buddy's relationship starts to grow weaker, and she starts having flashbacks to their relationship, and she starts wanting him back. So it's kind of I didn't notice until watching now that it really is just like it's like a what do they call it? A symmetrical, or like it's like a, what's that thing where a word is the same backwards and forwards?
Parallelogram.
That's a shape. Well, whatever it is.
It's
a palindrome. Yeah. I only remember that.
Not gonna get that.
I only remember that because I had this idea in high school when I made it onto SNL. I would have Tina Fey play Sarah Palin, where she did a bit called Palindromes, where she just sat in a chair as Sarah Palin and she would read palindromes from a book. And that's why I remember palindromes.
Wow.
Anyway, this movie feels like an emotional palindrome where you start out in a really sad, you know, happy place before the breakup, and then it gets really sad, and then, you know, the perspective shifts, and then by the end, Peter is happy again, and he's naked again. Did I mention that? You see Jason Segel's dick. Like, in the unrated theatrical version, you see his dick like 3 times. It's too many times.
That's just that was a very good like cinematography moment, because you see him like nude obviously, but like camera pans just above that region. So because like every movie does, and then it just like cuts to just the full shot. It's just really good. It's really well done.
Also, another fun fact: there's an animated movie that came out called Storks in like 2013, which was flew, pun intended, under the radar for a lot of people, but it starred Andy Samberg as a stork. It was directed and written by this guy, who showed Jason Segel's cock and had Fix-It Felix. This is before Wreck-It Ralph, so he couldn't have known. But there's, Fix-It Felix talking about having sex and using the word fuck a lot. So, anyway, yeah, it feels a little long at points. I don't know if that's just because I've already seen the movie before and I knew where it was going to go. Did it feel long to you? Did it feel like it kind of dragged on, or do you feel like it was just, telling the story for the sake of, I
don't know. I didn't get like bored or anything.
Well, that's good. That's a good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun time. Like rewatchability, I don't know how much it has, but
right. So yeah, when it comes to rom-coms, for me it was between that or Crazy Stupid Love, and I ultimately chose this movie because I was telling David earlier, it has more personal significance to my life, and like I said, when I first watched it for the very first time, it resonated with me a lot, and it just kind of stuck with me, and it made me appreciate the Muppets movie, the 2011 Muppets movie, a lot more, because in this movie, not only does Jason Segel work with puppets for his Dracula musical, go watch the movie, but he also drunkenly sings the Muppets theme song at one point, so it should have been obvious that he was going to do a Muppets movie in the future. Anyway, I love that man. He's very tall and awkward and funny, and Mila Kunis is... I mean, she's great, and she has really great chemistry with Jason Segel, but she's also really hot. And Kristen Bell is also really hot. And, like, everyone in this movie is hot. And it's just... What are you doing? What are you doing listening to us? Go watch it. Go watch it and form your own opinion.
Yeah, all it needed was Ryan Reynolds. It would have been the sexiest movie ever.
Sexiest movie alive. So, that's all I gotta say about my favorite rom-com. Yeah, I love. So make sure to wear pink and red this month, y'all. Oh my God, pink and red.
Hey.
They didn't even plan that. Well, now I got to wear red next week. And you got to wear pink.
I don't have pink.
We'll find some. In the meantime, we're going to switch topics. I don't know how long it's been. I didn't set a timer because it's been so long since we did one of these. I don't know.
Who cares, man?
Who cares? Who's even watching these? Besides Lenny. Love you, Lenny. Congratulations.
And Dale watches too.
Dale, thanks, Dale. You didn't have a baby recently, but congratulations on everything. So, not that this next topic has anything to do with Valentine's Day or love, but at a certain point, the artist does talk about love very in depth at the end of a blues song. My fifth favorite album of all time is Where the Light Is by John Mayer, which is a live album. So for some people that might not count. But for me, not only do I think is it an amazing album, but it's also probably got the best versions of these songs that I think John's ever recorded. So, little pretext or context, I don't know which one it is. John Mayer is a pop / blues / folk / Grateful Dead featured artist. And at this point in his career, he only had 3 albums out. 2 were acoustic pop rock. And this latest one was a blues heavy, album. And it's 2 discs long. And it's filmed in LA. I had a brain fart just a second there, but John Mayer is an artist that I looked up to for years and years and years for his guitar playing, and as an adult and college student, I respected his ability to craft a pop song with really melodic guitars and sing about how your body is a wonderland and still include chords that are really cool and intricate. And yeah, I don't know how else to talk about this album other than just listing off my favorite tracks. But the whole night of live music is split up into 3 sections. So the first disc has the acoustic songs with just him, and then he adds 2 more guys to play other songs, and then he adds 2 different guys to do the trio set. That's the second section, mostly blues stuff and some Jimi Hendrix covers. And then the third and final section is the second disc, and it's the full band. So you got horn sections, backup singers, multiple guitarists. And when I tell you that this approach to releasing a live album is one of the bucket list items on my bucket list of musicianship, it's just a cool idea. It's such a cool idea to have a whole live show that's split up into different, because then, especially as like a solo artist that does all sorts of genres, you can feasibly fit certain songs into certain sections and give the audience what they want. That is only if you're successful and likable enough to have your own 2.5-hour show. That's tough. A lot of people go out on the road and they have openers and other artists and stuff. But
An evening with, as they call it.
An evening with. Yeah. Too bad he didn't do that when he came to Chicago recently. It was just him on an acoustic guitar instead of the different, which is fine. It's cool. He's doing the Ed Sheeran thing. I respect it. But David, you've listened to his whole discography. You're pretty familiar with Mr. Mayer.
It has been a long time.
We're not sure if he's releasing anything anytime soon, but if and when he does, we're going to do a discography ranking on his channel.
Right. Just waiting for something new.
But we listened to the live album together semi-recently, maybe a month and a half ago, something like that. It was pre-New Year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think? What do you think of John Mayer in general, and why did you listen to his whole discography? I don't think I pressured you to do it.
It was because you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I just kind of. I don't know. I don't even remember like the day. I was like, I want to listen to John Mayer shit. I don't know if I at least heard New Light, or I don't know what the hell it was, but I did, and it's been a hot minute. But yeah, this live album's pretty good.
Yeah,
like the first time because I heard it twice already, because I listened to it a long time ago. And I think I watched it actually.
Yeah, the DVD has more songs too.
Yeah. So I watched it, and I remember the first time I was like all about the second set.
Yeah.
But then the third time I was like, I think the big band part was the best.
Yeah. I mean, it's got the most full sound to it, and also, hate to break it to you, or hate to break it to the audience, I don't really care too much for blues music. I appreciate the stamp that it's made on music history, but just as someone who listens to, it's just my taste, I guess. I'm sick of hearing the 1-4-5 chord progression, dude. It's so. I feel like blues is a genre of music for people who are, I'm super organized and structured, and I get so stressed out when things aren't so, and like listening to music that's very jam heavy and feeling. It's just, I imagine myself up on stage, and I've been in that position where I've played songs of mine, but with a blues band, and I have to keep screaming my chord progressions to them because it's not 1-4-5, and it just freaks me out. So when I listen to blues, either it freaks me out or I get bored because they go on for like 15 minutes and it's the same chord progression, and the guitar solo just goes on for a little too long. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just different in person, but that's a lot of this album's second set, because it's the trio with Steve Jordan and Pino Palladino, who are amazing musicians. Anytime they start playing a blues song, I think to myself, well, this is 7.5 minutes I'm not getting back. Let's skip it. So I was also very partial to the last set, but I also really like the first set because obviously I'm an acoustic singer-songwriter guy. I think the opener, Neon, is probably one of the best show openers I've ever heard, as far as given the context of him walking out with just an acoustic guitar. The way he plays Neon, it's so masterful and incredible to listen to, because first time I did, I had a hard time believing it was just a guy and a guitar. The way he plays it, and he plays rhythm and the lead section at the same time, kind of like our boy Ryland from Origami Angel. And then the first section also has his cover of Free Fallin' by Tom Petty, which for a very long time I considered one of the best cover songs of all time.
What changed?
What changed?
Yeah.
I just listened to more music, and I think Free Fallin' still stands as a very, very good cover. But for me, best covers of all time, I think it really comes down to if it's how transformative it is. Like Johnny Cash's Hurt, I consider one of the best covers of all time, because not only is it a good song, like not only is it a really interesting take on the Nine Inch Nails version, but it also stands apart on its own.
It's like the only similar thing is like the lyrics.
Yeah, everything else completely different. And for John, for Free Fallin', it's super cool to listen to, and it's almost like listening to an acoustic version. It's not like a John Mayer cover, because he's not adding too much of a spin to it. It's same chords, same melody at the very end and for the most part of the song, but it is a very good acoustic version of the song to listen to. Then the trio section has a couple of really good jams on it. The Jimi Hendrix covers are great. There's a couple of original blues songs that John wrote that don't sound like blues songs. See, that's the trick, is to write blues songs with really cool guitar licks, like Who Do You Think I Was, that has the boom, and it's just super cool guitar line. And then coming off of Continuum, his third album, the third set starts with Waiting on the World to Change, which is Walgreens core at its finest, but still a fun song, I think.
I don't like that song.
That's fair.
Walgreens will forever make me hate that song,
which sucks. But in all fairness, it is not even the best song on that album. It's honestly far from it. You got Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, which sounds great. You have the 12-minute version of Gravity, which is phenomenal. You have I Don't Trust Myself with Loving You, that has a really cool progression to a big chord change or key change at the end. It's got what else does it have on the third disc? Oh, I Don't Need No Doctor, which is a Ray Charles cover, and has one of my favorite pop saxophone solos of all time. It's just a phenomenal album if you're a John Mayer fan. I think if you're not a John Mayer fan, it's a pretty good introduction to the kind of music that he puts out and he writes. Other than the folk stuff, which he focused on for a couple albums in his career. Now, he's kind of floating around doing side quests. He was touring with the Grateful Dead for a while. He did a bunch of interviews. He's hosting, like on Sirius XM. He has a couple of, they call them stations, where he's just like a radio DJ, and he talks to people. He's done appearances as a guest host for, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel, and he interviewed people as Jimmy Kimmel when he was on leave. Or I think it was Letterman. I can't remember. So, John, if you're watching this, musician to musician, you got to put out an album, man. You just got to do it. Bite the bullet, do another one. Get back on Hot Ones.
Please be better than the last one.
Please be better than Sob Rock. Come on, man. What?
Make every song like New Light. That'll make me happy.
Lightning in a bottle, man. So, yeah, it's an album that transformed the way that I listen to and critique music and how I adapt it into my own style. And it's also my favorite album of his, even though it's a live album, which is kind of cheating, but
I don't think so. I mean, S&M is my favorite Metallica album.
it's a pretty good album.
Only because, it's a symphony. You add symphony to any band and it's automatically better.
Agreed. Except for when they did it with Def Leppard, and it just kind of, some songs were like, was that them?
Yeah, no, but that's like, some of those were just symphony.
And it's like remixes.
It's got to be the band and the symphony.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Like symphonic with just vocals, like whatever.
Yeah, might as well be at the opera.
Yeah,
listening to Pour Some Sugar on Me at the Met. That'd be pretty fun. That'd be pretty fun if I did say so myself. So keep it up, John. Keep it up, Mr. Mayor. Keep running that town. I'm gonna move on though to the next thing, and the final thing. It feels like, I know it's a Nick episode. I've just been talking a lot. So, David, thanks for being here and looking pretty with iron.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sitting up there.
Representing.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll get your fair share of David in the next episode. But this is my episode, so deal with it. Sorry. And also, you won't be able to really touch on this next subject because it's a very...
No, I've never touched this game.
Yeah, my number 10 favorite game of all time is, fun fact, one of the first games I ever owned, and I think the first game I ever owned on Game Boy, which is, of course, Mega Man Battle Network 2, an offshoot of the OG Mega Man series that premiered at NES, and an even further offshoot of Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo and beyond. So really quickly, Mega Man has he's kind of like Link and Zelda, where they have a bunch of different versions of themselves, and there's a theory that every Legend of Zelda game is a different Link and Zelda, but they're like, I don't know, what is it? Their souls are the same, but they're basically reincarnated each time into like the same timeline, and just Link is the hero of time and Zelda is the princess or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's like timelines and stuff, but like they're obviously all very different. Yeah, unless they're direct sequels, but that doesn't happen very often.
Not super often. In Mega Man, though, it happened all the fucking time. And with a different Mega Man series, they are considered completely different people. It's not Link and Zelda, but instead, for example, original Mega Man, he's just called Mega Man. But then in Mega Man X, that Mega Man is called X. So in Mega Man Battle Network, I forget what Mega Man's name in this one is. Mega Man.exe. So in this timeline, you have a kid who lives in a world where there's our world and then there's the internet. And on the internet, all avatars for people who log into the internet are essentially different Mega Man robots. So in the net nav is the device that you use to access the internet. You have your avatar, who is like a different person and has a different... You can communicate with them as like a different, thing, but they just represent you. I'm explaining this very poorly. But it's a very cool game, and it's a very unique spin on the Mega Man lore, where instead of fighting robots who are terrorizing humanity, you're fighting essentially computer viruses with your own computer program, who is a Mega Man robot. And unlike previous Mega Man titles, which were side-scroller shooters, this Mega Man game is kind of like a top-down RPG, where it's what do they call it? Tactical RPG, where you're moving pieces around a board, but at the same time, it's kind of like a regular RPG, like Pokemon or Final Fantasy, where you have random encounters. But when you go into this random encounter, you can move around and you can fire the B button to shoot. You collect cards that give you different power-ups that you can use on the field, and it makes boss battles feel very intense. And the progression of the game is super rewarding and fun because you unlock more cards from bosses that you've beaten, so you can essentially use them as summons, like in Final Fantasy. And spoiler alert, disclaimer, I have never beat Mega Man Battle Network 2 because as a kid, I got super stuck, I think, in a section where you're in the woods, and so there's not a whole lot of internet. So you, the main character, you get word that some awful shit is happening online, but you're away at camp, so you can't just log into a computer, and you have to find some source of electricity to plug your net nav into. And it's such a niche game. I acknowledge that. I know half the people that watch this aren't even going to know what Mega Man Battle Network is. They made 5 of those fuckers, and the 5th one they split into 2 games like Pokemon, where in one game I think the villain was a different guy, and the second game it was the same story but it was a different, villain.
Oh, so it's like a Zelda Oracle of Seasons and Ages.
Yeah, bringing it back to Zelda. That's a callback.
It's all connected.
It's all
Connected online, like the Battle Network.
Like the Battle Network. See, you get it.
That's right.
Indoctrinating this guy. So, for me, yeah, obviously, it holds a special place in my heart because it's one of the first games I ever truly owned. I played the shit out of it, even if I couldn't beat it. And much like a lot of the games on my list of favorite games of all time, much like the John Mayer album, tried to split my list into 3 sections where my top 5 games are games that are genuinely good and also games that I enjoy and / reminisce about when I was a kid. The middle 5 are games that could be better, but in my head, I remember being really, really good. And then the last 5 games, which we've already talked about, and you can go back in the older episodes and find them, are games that I really enjoyed as a kid, but I acknowledge that there are better versions / better sequels that are out now. So for me, Mega Man Battle Network 2, as much as I want to say that it's a really great game, I'm sure the sequels improved upon the many mechanics that this game introduced and introduced even more mechanics on top of that. But for me, for little 6-year-old Nick with his silver, it was red at first, and then I lost it in the backyard, and then I had a silver Game Boy Advance. On my little silver Game Boy Advance playing Battle Network 2, little Mega Man action. Yeah, you're not wrong, buddy. You're not wrong to like that game, even if people don't know what it is, and you sound like a crazy person when you describe it on a podcast later in the future. So, have you ever played a Mega Man game?
I've played Mega Man X for a few minutes.
Okay.
I think I played the original for a few minutes.
Yep.
But as a kid, I had Mega Man Legends on the PS1. Which I never even got past, like, the second stage. Because I know the nerd had talked about it at some point. And in the beginning, you start in that little, like, factory. I don't know what the hell it is, but you fight, like, you go around these corridors, and you fight this big thing, and then you beat that thing, and then you go outside, and then you walk into this town. And I never even made it past that, because, I don't know, it was just kind of... Because as a kid, when I had the PS1, I had, like, the 4 or 5 games, and, like, it doesn't matter if I liked them or not, that's just all I had. Yeah. So I just kind of played it for a bit, but I wasn't really into it.
Isn't it weird how we're part of, I think, the last generation of kids that, for the most part, we didn't have Steam, so if we got a game and we didn't like it, we couldn't just...
Yeah, it's like you just had it now.
Yeah. There were also a lot more movie tie-in games. Dude, I can't tell you how many Pixar games I owned / replay. I played the shit out of The Incredibles on PS2 over and over and over. Because, again, those are the only games you had. And even with games that you really, really liked, there are some of them that you just straight up never beat. Because you're a kid. You're a dumbass kid. You don't know how to be good at video games.
I didn't beat anything on the PS when I was a kid.
No.
The furthest I got was Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase.
Dude.
Which I think there's like 7 levels. I think I got to level 4. But the years later, I downloaded it on my computer and I actually properly beat it. So
that's what I did with Kingdom Hearts a bunch of years ago, because I never beat the first one as a kid. And I never beat the second one as a kid, but they are some of my favorite games. And that's just something you got to do. So for all you out there who played video games as a kid, you know what? Use some of that vacation time, stay at home, get some shitty junk food, and finally finish some of those games that you never did as a kid. It is such a rewarding feeling, which I guess that means I have to buy Battle Network 2 or the Battle Network collection on Switch and play it and beat Battle Network 2 because I never beat that. I do still have it on Game Boy though. I'm going to do that instead. That sounds cooler. So I guess while I go do that, David, you're going to think about your next couple of topics.
I know what they are. I made this list before we started this.
He's going to take 2 weeks to figure it out, and then we will see you in 2 weeks. I will let you know how Battle Network 2 goes and if I still like it as an adult. But my list can never change, and it never will change, so don't expect me to change it at all, even a little bit. I have been and always will be Nick Scarpin Auto. It is legal, and he has always been and will continue to be
Kapusha Cars.
Just Kapusha Cars.
That's it.
That's it. This is Ein. This is our 1997. What's the trademark on Cowboy Bebop? What does it say? What's the copyright year? We're trying to figure this out, folks. Don't mind us. Is it Sunrise?
God, there is no year.
There's no year?
There's no year.
It's just got the... Does it have the Sunrise logo somewhere? Hold on.
It does, but there's no year.
When did Cowboy Bebop premiere?
Or when did Ein show up?
Cowboy Bebop debuted in Japan in 1998 and ran for just 26 episodes, but became one of the world's most famous and beloved anime. This is from Polygon.com.
Sorry to cut her off. So we have our 1998 Bebop Ein with us, and I didn't even number the episode. What episode is this? 38?
I don't know, dude.
You'll see in the thumbnail. So we are going to take a 2-week break like we always do, but we will be back to talk about more rom-coms, albums, and games. So we love you very much. I am going to poop my brains out because we had coffee and donuts before this.